that you've written, I want you to write this statement: plans fizzle. Plans fizzle. Have you ever had a plan, or you just knew you had such great expectations in something, and all of a sudden you could almost sense that it was taking place, that it was deflating in your hands. It was just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And the air was just leaking out of that balloon really fast. Well, we have to realize that plans do fizzle, and people that we've trusted will let us down. And a lot of times, these dreams that we have, that you've written out, will be shattered or they'll slip away. And that's when our plan A, the plan that we've made, comes to an abrupt stop. We sense that it's deflating. We sense that plan A is diffusing or dissolving in front of us. And then all of a sudden, we realize that plan A can't even be resuscitated. It's dead. And anybody want to share a time when you felt like plan A just really, you felt like it came to an absolute stop in your life? Yes, Deborah.
When I found out that my ex-husband was cheated,
Mm-hmm.
and I could just feel the marriage slipping away.
Did it happen overnight, or did it happen just in a moment? What was the time? Did it take time?
The time that I'm thinking about was the day I found out about it. It was like something kicked me in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And then, over time it just wasted away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And in that situation, did you look back at the marriage and think that it was your plan? Was it a plan that you had,
It was my plan, and I don't think it was God's plan for me, but I was forcing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was before you knew the Lord? That was before you knew the Lord. Okay. Yeah, before we knew the Lord, there's a lot of things that we implement because Dee's shaking her head like this in the back. Yeah, there's a lot of things before we knew the Lord that, we were just making the best choices that we knew to make. We didn't have a whole lick of sense, a whole lot of sense, but we were just doing what we saw, in front of us to do. But we can live by a higher calling, and that's what God wants to do, is give us that peace and that ability to trust Him and, to trust in the Lord. I love what He said in that one statement. Trusting is what we don't have. Trust is what we do when we don't have understanding. Trust is what we do when we don't have understanding. And that is so true. There's sometimes, and I love what he said, because I've been in that very situation. When going into the hospital room, we had a church member once whose this baby was born, and it was just one of those sagas where, we just knew that this was God's plan to redeem this, to bless this woman. Her husband had tragically died that year. He was a fire, what do you call it? Firefighter. There you go. And he had died in a fire. And so after his burial, they found out she was pregnant. And so it was just one of these things where, this was just, God's way of just, easing her pain and all that. Well, long and short of this, she gave birth to the baby, and the baby was stillborn. And when we got to the hospital, she was in the hospital room holding the baby, the dead baby in her arms, cradling it in her arms. And so I understand what he says, because you just sit in silence. I mean, there's not anything you can say. I mean, she looked at us and just said, why? Why would God do this? Why does this happen? And you know what? I don't have an answer for that. I wish I could tell you I have an answer for it, but there's just some things that reality is not simple. And you need to write that statement down. Reality is not simple. And we have to deal with reality and live in the truth of reality. Reality is just not simple. I wish it was. I wish I could tell you I had an explanation why the things, if you've ever lost a child, or you've ever, given birth to a child, that did not thrive and live. I mean, those are things, that's death and pain I don't even understand. But life is not simple and reality is not simple.
It's complicated is an understatement.
It's that's right. Life is complicated, and that is an understatement, Dean. Okay, and he says also, you know, a lot of times we make poor decisions. Sometimes, he made that statement, sometimes our disappointments are clearly our fault because we've made a poor choice. We made a poor decision. We chose a wrong path. Sometimes another person's poor decisions are to blame. Okay? Sometimes, honestly, it's a little of both. Okay? I'm going to read that again. It says, sometimes our disappointments are clearly our fault. We made a poor decision or we took a wrong path. Sometimes another person's poor decisions are to blame. Sometimes, honestly, it's a little of both. You know, when you're watching a movie and you always know when something is about to really, you know, the music leads you, doesn't it? The camera shifts and the movie leads you, and you know that something tragic is going to happen or something is going to upset, you know, it leads you. But you know what, in life it doesn't always happen that way. I wish I had the strings come in and the drums go brrr, like this, you know, go, Kathy, wake up, you know. In teaching this series on angels, I've read part of Buck White's report on the angels that visited him. He had angels that had a visitation of angels, and the angels told him that they had come because there was a concentrated warfare that was coming against his life, and that the Lord had sent these angels, had dispatched angels to come and guard over his life. And so he said he kind of got nervous because he wanted to know why the angel was there instead of fighting and defending and encamping about him and protecting him. And the angel said, oh, no. He said, don't worry about it. He said, we've already finished our job. We've already defeated him. And he goes, oh, okay. And he said, you know, we don't show up. We don't wait till you figure out that you're in trouble. The angels of heaven don't wait till we figure out we're in trouble. They're under God's orders to protect us and keep us. And so God is there beforehand. He has sent his angels to watch over us. So in a lot of situations where we make poor choices or people come about in our lives that are deceivers, or there is a deception that comes along, you know, sometimes we end up, our dreams are shattered because of those decisions, because we made a wrong choice. We made a wrong decision. And this is the comforting thing. We have all made those wrong decisions. I want you to know that. You're not alone. You say, well, that's what I did. I made a wrong choice, or I chose the wrong path. We've all done that. Every one of us. And yet, God has a plan B. Thank God he has a plan B for our lives. So, reality is God is there to defend you. So, what is the key theme today is that everyone needs healing. You need to write that down on your paper. Everyone needs healing. Every one of us in this room, there's not one in this room that doesn't have a shattered dream. Every one of us has one. Every one of us has been let down and disappointed. Every one of us has been let down and disappointed in one way or the other. And every one of us needs healing for our brokenness. You know, sometimes parents are the greatest influence on our lives as children, and they're some of the ones that hurt us the most. Sometimes siblings are the ones that hurt us the most. Aunts, uncles. A lot of times in growing up, when we are encouraged to dream, what are dreams made of? They're made of assumptions. Okay, dreams are made from our assumptions. And often, our assumptions, the our dreams are based on our assumptions. How many of you, I'm going to date myself here, but how many of you used to watch the movies but with Gidget? You remember? Okay, there was my age. Margaret, I know you saw Gidget. Okay, don't act like you haven't seen it. Sitting over here like princess in the 40s, okay? we watched Gidget, and I can remember thinking, oh, now that would be the life.
Yeah.
Okay? It was always perfect. It was always perfect. And, you know, she was perfect in every way. And you know what? A lot of times what we saw growing up was our assumption of what a perfect life would be. And out of those assumptions, we built dreams. And, you know, maybe those dreams that we built were not exactly what God had intended for us or what was best for us. Now, there's a lot of things that we've chosen on our own, and God, we never consulted God. How many of you got those things that we've done?